Hello and welcome to Mind the Flat with me, Chris Heffernan.
Me, Amy Isles.
And me, Tom Crowther.
And today's episode is a broad topic where we're going to be talking about all things holiday. And so is it best to be going on a city break, a beach holiday or a road trip? But before we start all that, a little disclaimer. We're all a little bit exhausted. We were meant to start recording the podcast an hour and a half ago when a game of cricket with a pan lid developed in the flat.
In the flat.
Yeah, on the stairs.
With a cricket ball.
Brilliant, though. Mine and Tom's knees are rather sore from diving to get the ball.
I won.
Tom did win. And what did you give yourself to win, Tom?
Well, it's cricket, so I had to have the ashes. So we had a barbecue a couple of days ago, and so I just tipped the barbecue into an old mayonnaise pot. And so I've now got my own ashes that I've won.
It was a triumphant performance.
It was.
Yeah.
I won by only one run. I was very happy.
And a violent game. Who didn't get hit?
I think we all got hit apart from the other one.
Yeah.
So all three of us got hit. You got hit twice.
I got hit twice.
It came off the
I hit
came
Amy.
off the chair. Yeah. I hit Tom.
Okay, I was playing Wicket
Yours
Keeper
was
and I
quite vicious as
just
well.
straight through the chair and straight into my face.
I mean, it got Chris out though, so.
But anyway,
Slightly off topic.
holidays. So I'm going to start with a lovely holiday story. So Tom, do you want to kick us off with your holiday story?
So mine is, I was on holiday with my family in Spain, and I hadn't really been cycling very long. I was quite new to it, and I had my own road bike at home, and so I was used to cycling, but I didn't have clip-in pedals. Mm-hmm. And so my dad and I hired some bikes, and the only ones they had were like clip-in pedals. So I got some clip-in pedals and shoes, and so I went out for the first time on like a club ride with a load of people, and it was fine. They took me a route. My dad stayed at home, and I went on my own with them. I must have been about 16. I went out the next day with my dad, and he goes, "Oh, do you remember the route?" I said, "Yeah, I know the route. We're cycling along. My dad goes, "It really doesn't feel like somewhere you'd have gone on a club ride." And I'm going, "No, it's definitely this way. We ended up on a motorway, cycling along a motorway, and my idea was, okay, we're on a motorway. We're gonna have to go as fast as possible to get off. So I went right ahead and left my dad behind, and then I went to stop when I got to the slip road, and I looked behind me to see where my dad was. Forgot my feet were clipped into the pedals, and fell into the storm drain at the side of the motorway. And my dad watched me fall over and ended up just laughing his head off because I was in a storm drain with a bike I was like a turtle on its back, and my bike still clipped onto me. And I was in a storm drain, like moving. Yeah, it hurt a lot.
So where were you, did you say?
In Spain. So it was really hot as well. It probably was like 35 degrees.
So you went off on a club ride with just some Spanish people?
Oh, it was people that were on holiday as well.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I
So
see.
yeah, they all rode out of the place that we hired the bikes from. So. But it was like proper, like lycra wearing, sort of cycling.
Oh dear, Tom.
Yeah.
Poor you. You ended up in a storm drain.
I did indeed. The worst bit was the embarrassment and my dad laughing at me.
Oh.
Didn't.
Sad.
Yeah, that was the bit that hurt the most.
Right then, Amy, where are you going to take us and your story?
Well, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, but a couple of years ago, me and my family went to Florida to go to the. We flew into Orlando, and we spent 3 days at the Universal Studios to do the Harry Potter stuff, and then we drove down to the coast and spent 2 weeks at the coast. But the Harry Potter part was one of the main reasons we went, because, as I mentioned in the last episode, it was promised to me when I was like 9 years old. 10 years later, we finally got there, and it was amazing. We got there on, I think it was like a Thursday or something. Then the Friday we did the Harry Potter Studios, and it was amazing. And then we had like a spare day left over, so we were like, oh, we should do something with this day. And we had the Universal wristbands, and they'd just opened up this new water park. So we arrive at this water park, and it's really cool because you get these wristbands, and you can like do a virtual queue, and they unlock your locker. they're really cool. So we went and found some lockers. We're getting ready and stuff. And I turn round and there's this guy, quite good looking guy, stood behind me. And I look at him and I think, oh, hang on a second. No, I don't know him. And his mate, I start getting my stuff ready to go. And his mate says to him, oh, I wonder if anyone will recognise you. So I look back and I was like, no, it can't be. And then I looked at his arm and he had this tattoo and I was like, oh my God, it is. So my mum's next to me and I go, Mum, it's Matt Lewis. And she goes, who's Matt Lewis? And I was like, it's the guy that played Neville in Harry Potter. So bearing in mind we've been to the Harry Potter place the day before, I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my God, should I ask him for a photo? What should I do? And she was like, Amy, he's in his swimming trunks. You're in a swimming costume. I don't think it's really appropriate to ask him for a photo. So I was like, no, I can't. So anyway, I look around, these two girls stood behind me and they're kind of looking at me and having a bit of a giggle. And I was like, oh, I don't know who they are, but anyway. And it turns out that was his fiancée. So I was like having this freak out with my mum, like, oh my god, it's Matt Lewis. And she's like, who's that? And then these two girls behind me are probably thinking, oh god, here we go again, there's another one. I didn't ask him for a photo in the end. And my mum says, oh, I wish you had done. And I look back and I'm like, thank god I didn't. Because yeah, I was in a swimming costume and he was in his trunks. That was quite nice.
What a story, Amy. I mean, layer after layer after layer to that story.
Deep one.
I'd forgotten that bit at the end. And
I don't know if I've ever told you that bit, actually.
I think that makes the story, really.
Yeah.
That is the best layer.
But then he kept popping up all over the water park as well. We kept seeing him.
Almost as if he stayed at the water park.
Yeah.
Wow.
And wanted to go on the volcano slide.
Yeah.
Go on then, Chris, what's yours?
Well, mine is going to take us back a long time. And this could be one of...
100 years? 1,000 years?
One
a
of
million years?
Surprisingly, I wasn't going on holiday a million years ago. A little bit younger than
You
that.
act a bit like a dinosaur sometimes.
Oh! You are the granddad of the flat. We established that the other day.
Anyway, to when I was 3 or 4, and it was my first abroad holiday, and we were in this hotel. We were in Menorca, and I don't know what floor we were on. We were on a couple of floors up. We had a balcony, and there was this girl, and
Wow. Wow.
I know, and she was on the bottom floor, and she had a ball. And
is that all she had, Chris?
we decided to play.
So crude.
We decided to play catch, and
how
my dad
awesome.
comes
You
out.
and the girl?
Yeah,
Hang on, how old were you again?
3 or 4.
Okay.
Why?
Oh, okay.
What's wrong?
Sorry, I think I got the wrong age then, but never mind.
Anyway, Dad comes out and goes, "Oh, you won't be able to do that. No, I should never be able to get the ball to you. It'd be a rubbish game of catch." But
Sexist.
I think it's because she was on the floor below.
I think more she
Oh,
was
I
several
see.
floors below, and she was probably about
I can't
6.
remember any details of this story. It's not going in anymore. That blow to the head's got me.
So yeah, so we just I can remember just looking down, just seeing this ball. I can't see her, but I just know, and we played catch up
Aww.
Well, she
this
managed to get it.
balcony. Yeah, she managed to throw it up, and I caught it, and we played catch up
Aww.
the balconies.
Aw.
And that was also the holiday in which I fell asleep in my baked beans on toast.
Classic.
So yeah, that was my first proper abroad holiday, and that was what happened on it.
Cute.
Yeah, you see,
Adorable.
always been a bit of a player.
Womanizer.
That's me.
Boom, boom, boom. Mind the flat. Boom, boom, boom.
Anyway, on to what is the best sort of holiday. So, who shall kick us off? Let's go for Tom.
Was it because I was shaking my head?
No, I just thought I'd mix up the voices. I thought I'd go Tom, Amy, me.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Sure.
So let's go for Tom. And Tom, what sort of holiday are you going to be talking about? And go.
Road trips.
Road trips.
Ooh.
They're the best. You have utter freedom on what you're doing. You can plan it yourself. You can go where you want to go for however long you want to go. you get to drive, so you get a bit of time off, and you can listen to some music and kind of chill out. And then once you get to the place, you can do all the exciting stuff. Yeah.
Just a second. So a road trip, we're talking about going on holiday.
Yeah.
And driving is some time off. Time off from what? You're on holiday.
Yeah, but if you're going on like a city holiday, you're gonna want to be going out all the time to go and visit things. And I mean, I'm not one for like beach holidays where you just kind of sit there and do nothing. And so I think the road trip kind of mixes it up a bit in that you've got some time in the car where you can relax, you can swap drivers, listen to an audiobook, and then you've got the time when you're at the place that you're going to, whether that is a beach to properly relax, or whether that's a city to do some exciting stuff, or you can go off to like a mountain, or I mean, when I've been to like the Bulgarian Communist Parliament building once, that was fun. We got chased by dogs. Drove the world's most dangerous road in Turkey. That was terrifying.
Why is it dangerous?
Why is it dangerous? Because it's not actually a road. It's just like a collection of rocks down the side of a cliff.
Why?
And when we went, we accidentally went the wrong way down the one-way most dangerous road in the
Oh my
world.
god! That sounds very relaxing.
It was not. And just to top it off, we went at a time of day when it was incredibly foggy and you could only see a couple of feet in front of you.
Oh my lord.
And so, it was. But once we got to the other side, an old Turkish man stopped us and then bought us all tea. It was very cute.
That's sweet.
You would need it.
Oh,
Coming
yeah.
down the most dangerous road in fog on a holiday.
Yeah.
The wrong way.
And then we had some tea, and then once we got going again, we got a puncture straight away. We were just like, we want to go to bed. The adrenaline had tired us out so much, and we couldn't go to bed because we had to fix the tyre. Oh. That's a good holiday. Look, I've got a story. If I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have had that story.
Sorry, Amy went to America and had a story about meeting a celebrity. And at any point, Amy, did you get a puncture?
No.
At any point, did you go down the world's most dangerous road the wrong way in fog?
No.
Have you had a story to tell?
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that you only have... but you can have more stories to tell. How many stories like that do you have, Amy?
Like what? Like going down the world's most dangerous road?
In
None,
fog.
thankfully. Thank God.
But yeah, but you don't have to do like stupid stuff like that. You can. So my girlfriend and I are planning a road trip around Ireland this summer. So we're thinking about just kind of going around. Ireland isn't a particularly extreme environment, so we're just going to kind of see the sights of Ireland, drive around, go to Dublin, go to Cork. So you kind of got a mix of everything.
Oh, you go to the Oscar Wilde statue.
Yes,
I've seen that.
Where's that?
It's in
Dublin.
Dublin. I
Oh.
posed next to it and impersonated him.
That does not shock me at all. I've never been to Ireland, so it'd be a nice
It's
little
lovely.
trip.
Very
I was
nice.
there for my 16th birthday. No, 17th birthday.
I was there for
Just
my
to see the
third,
statue.
fourth and fifth
No,
birthdays.
it was a school trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just happened to coincide with my birthday.
Aw.
Oh, okay. Then you didn't go to Ireland just for your birthday.
No.
Fair enough.
See, I wonder if the road trip's nice. You see lots of places, but I feel almost for me the road trip is trumped if we're looking at that sort of thing by the cruise. And I know obviously you can't
what?
because, and I'm not. I don't like the idea of just going on a ship and just being on the ship all the time. But I think the idea of having your room where you can put all your stuff, and then you turn up, say you're in Croatia. You go off for the day, you can do what you like, you come back and all your stuff's there, and then you sleep, and then next morning you're somewhere else. And that sort of takes the sort of, got to get in the car, got to drive, what if we get a puncture, what if we go the wrong way, what if there's traffic? None of that matters because you're on a boat.
You are limited in the sort of places you can go to, though, in that they all have to be relatively near the coast.
But then
You
you can do
can't-
river cruises.
Yeah, again, you have to be near the river. You can't, like, go to inland Europe.
But you don't have to. I think because I've done cruises and it is fantastic because you don't have to worry about anything and you see. So the first cruise I went on, we went to about 6 different countries. The only thing I'd say is it is quite limited, the amount of time you can spend in each place. Like, we went to St. Petersburg, and that was the only place we got to spend 2 days in. And, like, to get the most out of it, we had to be up at, like, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
Which was... And the time difference as well, because by that point, we'd lost 2 hours of sleep as well. So it was fairly exhausting.
Oh,
but then
dear
you
me.
had, like, a day of rest at sea, which was really nice. But the thing with my family with road trips is, like, I've just been to Spain for a wedding. We were there for 3 days, and my mum and dad had rented a car, and we had to drive. So the first night we spent in a Holiday Inn near the airport, and then we had to drive to near where the wedding was. And genuinely, that drive was just, it was meant to be 45 minutes. It took us about 2 hours, and it was so stressful. Like, my dad was like, we are never, ever doing a holiday with a car again, because they just hate it. And it takes all the fun out of their holiday for them if they have to drive.
I guess if you don't like driving abroad, then that's fine. But if you can deal with it, like driving in stressful situations on the other side of the road, or you don't even have to be on the other side of the road. You can do a road trip in, like, for instance, if we went to Ireland or to New Zealand or Australia, you could do a road trip there. And so I think if you like driving, it gives you that perfect freedom that you wouldn't get in a cruise, in that you can go, if you go somewhere you like, and you haven't booked a hotel or anything, you can go, I'll stay for another day. Stay in this place another day. We were planning on going, but we've changed our mind. We'll stay for another day. And you have that complete
What
flexibility.
happens if you don't get a hotel?
I think
There's
there is an
always
element
hotels.
I don't know. I think there is an element of unpredictability about it. And if you're someone who likes things to be organised and planned, if you come into a situation where you can't get a hotel or a road is closed and I think being in a foreign place as well
I think
is quite scary.
Nowadays, with Airbnb and Booking.com, they're pretty much you're not going to find anywhere that you wouldn't be able to find. If you're going to a place, you will always be able to find somewhere to stay. I mean, I think I managed to find a hotel within my price, within my budget, every night that I needed one. Like, for instance, we turned up in some small city in Uzbekistan, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and we managed to find a place. It's you're always. I think nowadays you can always find somewhere at short notice. And worst case scenario, you just keep in the car. Go on then. Who's going to go next?
So go on then, Amy. Over to you. Which holiday are you going to be talking about?
I'm going to be talking about city breaks. So, I feel like there's just so many places in the world, and a lot of
utterly profound. So many places in the world.
I don't think anyone's going to contest you on that one, Amy.
Thank you very much.
I saw that happen. Oh no!
What happened? I turned around to check my bleeding leg.
Such an idiot. Oh,
What did I do?
you knocked it off the edge of the table.
Stop recording. Boom, boom, boom.
Right then, now the laptop is back on the desk.
It's fine.
Amy, tell us about city breaks.
Yeah, so I feel like with cities, you kind of go into the heart of a place, and there's so much to see and to do, and it's where everyone gathers, and you get a real taste for a place and for kind of different cultures. And the holiday that springs to mind for me that was a real city break was when me and my family went to New York, and we went twice. And the first time, the reason we went back was because the first time my mum got quite ill while we were out there. So we went into this hospital, which doesn't sound like the most pleasant experience. But
Sounds like a hospital.
it wasn't the best experience. I mean, we went in the middle of the night on the first night that we got there. We were jet lagged. But you see like a totally different side to the city. Like, there were two guys like kind of well, they weren't starting a fight. They'd come in because of a fight. You hear like the real locals as such, but yeah, you kind of see that side of the city, and I feel like that only really happens in a city.
Maybe there's a middle ground though between the hospital and the touristy bits.
Yeah,
Off the beaten
definitely.
track, but not that far off the beaten track.
Yeah, definitely. But then we went to like Central Park, and we kind of expected New York to be really busy. We'd been on the go all the time, but obviously my mum had to take it slightly easier. And we spent quite a lot of time in Central Park, and it was just beautiful. It was like this oasis in the middle of the city. It was stunning, and again, there wasn't a lack of stuff to do in there. We could have gone and got bikes. We spent some time on the boating lake. We hired out a little paddle boat. It was really, really nice, and yeah, I feel like there's just so much to do, and you can go and experience what it's like in that area and get a real taste for the culture. And something I'd really like to do is like go to Asia, and one of my course mates, we're planning on going to Bali next year, and I'm just so excited to kind of go and experience like the street food aspect of it and kind of get in with the locals. And I feel like you can really do that in a city, and it's somewhere where like we met one of the locals in the hospital, and she was telling us to go and check out all these things. And like there is all the tourist side as well, which we probably did focus on more in New York.
Yeah, you can't go to New York and, for instance, not go up the Empire State Building or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Like there are
exactly.
like things you're going to go all that way. You want to tick them off the list. You want to have been able to experience them. But yeah, it's nice to have. You can kind of have that mix between the
you
two.
can. I think you can get the best of both worlds in a city. Like there's so much tourist stuff, but then also if you really delve into it, you can get a really rich cultural experience.
But is it more, like you say, ticking the tourist boxes as opposed to a nice, relaxing holiday?
Yeah, but why does a
Do you
holiday
think?
have to be relaxing? I think it has to be different, but I think especially at our age, do we really need to take 2 weeks to just sit? And do we
Yes.
have to go abroad to do that? I think if you're gonna make the most of going abroad and doing something exciting or doing something different, just getting out of your daily rhythm, going and seeing and doing new things is enough, I think, to refresh yourself so that when you come back, you're not constantly in that kind of frame of mind. I think it's more of like a mental reset, and if going and experiencing new things can do that for you, then that works just as well as going and sitting on a beach. I would argue, I mean, for me, I have to keep my mind going. Like, I hate sitting on beaches because all it makes me do is worry about the things that I worry about when I'm at home.
You need to get yourself some logical challenges.
Good puzzle book.
Books of logical challenges. You sit there, sun shining. Oh, Mary lives next door to Sally. Ah, bingo.
But I'd much rather just go and you can do that on the train. But I'd much rather like go to a city and go to a museum, or go see that, as Amy said, like go and taste the street food, or go to see some music or a play. Or like, there's so rich in culture. There's so many options for you.
So I think that would be, for me, I love the idea of going for like a weekend break to a city. And obviously New York, just to tick off all the tourist boxes. But for me, it wouldn't be sort of my holiday of the year.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing of the holiday you look forward to all year, that you're thinking about, that's when I'm just going to be able to whoom. And for me, that isn't in a city.
I think I would prefer, and I think this is what my family have started doing now, is rather than go on like 1 10-day holiday to a beach, go on a series across the summer or even into the other months of city breaks of long weekend. And I think you can do that more often, and then you get those resets more frequently, and you get to experience more things.
But like I said, you can have that relaxing side in a city break. You've just got to find somewhere in the city to kind of have that release. And like you were saying, the holidays you look forward to are the ones where you can just go and relax. But I just feel like, for me, with a beach holiday, yeah, that aspect of it is lovely, but I couldn't, like you, Tom, I'd really, like, for a week, great. It's nice to just have some downtime. But I always feel like I leave a beach holiday kind of not having seen something new. I like to go to a place and think, oh my gosh, that's so different from home. And like a lot of the beach holidays I've been on, you're in a hotel, and I think I've only ever been on one all-inclusive holiday, but you don't really get a taste for the culture because everything you need is in the hotel. you do the same thing from day to day. You might go and explore the nearest town, but that's very commercialised for the tourists. And it's nice to have that break, but I always feel a bit like what's the word I'm looking for?
Underwhelmed, I guess.
Yeah.
You're not making the most of your time. If you're going to go and spend all that money to get somewhere,
Yeah.
you might as well like get something proper out
Yeah.
of it. And I think
It depends what we
while
define
young-
as proper.
When
When you say get something proper out of
okay,
it.
I understand that there are people that enjoy kind of just chilling out, and I expect that as I get older, it's going to tend towards wanting to just sit for a bit. But I think the thing is with the city is that you can, if you want to choose to do that, you can do that. Like when you and your mum, when you went to like Bath, I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's not far away, but it's still kind of a city break.
Yeah.
And you went to the spa.
Yeah.
And that, you can do that. There's spas in many cities.
Yeah.
I mean, I went when I was in Vienna. We went and spent the afternoon and just went on the Danube and started swimming in the river and stuff. And you can take that time, and you don't have to constantly be doing everything, but you have the choice to. I feel like we've had a bit of a go
Right, I'm going to
at the
say
relaxing holiday. So you
I'm
come
gonna
in and you
save the
take it.
beach holiday because your pictures of a beach holiday are just not what a beach holiday has to be. You don't have to stay in the hotel. Like I think the thing for me is the beach. You're on a coast, obviously, and for me, I love coasts, and so it's not about you just get out your hotel and it's 5 steps, you're on the beach, you sit there, 5 steps back to the hotel, you eat, and you repeat. It doesn't have to be like that. So I like to, before I go, look at the map, find out where I am and see, right, what weird and tiny little coves can I find? And then I pinpoint them on the map and then I work out, right, how am I going to convince Naomi to walk from here to there? I'll say it's half the distance it actually is. And so it's still a beach holiday, but for me, I like to get away from industry, from the city, from cars, from all the noise and the hubbub
Yeah.
of a city, and you can go and you can walk down these tiny little tracks, and you can discover these tiny beaches. There's like 2 or 3 people on them, and they're just beautiful, clear waters. And so then you walk in the morning when it's quite cool, and then you arrive 11 o'clock, midday, little dip in the pool, cool yourself down. You've brought a picnic, you have your picnic, and then you rest over the afternoon. And then you get the bus. You get a bus. If you go to Menorca or Mallorca, bus services are brilliant. Bus back, and then you've had your bit of activity. You've seen things, and for me, it depends on what you want to see. For me, I love seeing nature. And I think that's the thing. The beach holiday lends itself to seeing nature. So, especially if you go to somewhere like Mallorca or Menorca, I think almost every holiday that you take to those places is going to be a beach holiday because they're tiny islands. But you can go off on like we've done a coach trip into the mountains, and then they've brought you to little coves, and there was this brilliant one. They described it like Jurassic Park, and it honestly did look like it. You came up, and then you got to this sort of, you're walking on this path, and suddenly it just goes into these rocks. And it's massive, and you come out into this cove, and you look up, and it's a gorge. And it goes all the way up. It does look like something just off Jurassic Park. Beautiful beach, clear water again. Now you can have a fun picture of us holding up the sides of the gorge. And for me, it's relaxing. You can still do stuff, but the basis of the holiday is on relaxation, spending time with each other. It's often like if it's a family holiday, it's you as a family. Like we used to go to Cornwall for beach holidays, and we'd spend the time on the beach playing cricket. I played bat and ball with my dad. We got 500 rallies in a go one day, and it really encourages you just to spend that time with people. And I think that's what's lovely. Is it?
You can do that at the road trip.
Definitely.
Stuck in a car
Yes.
with someone, you're definitely
Yeah.
going to get to know them.
No, I'd say that probably they're very, in that way, quite similar, but you haven't got the stresses of driving.
I think for me, like having grown up on the coast, the beach isn't really a novelty.
Yeah.
It's something I take for granted. And so going, especially when I lived at home, going from my home by the sea to another temporary home by the sea,
Yeah.
albeit in a hotter climate. It was lovely. I really appreciate it, and I'm very lucky that my parents I was in a position where my parents could take me on these holidays, and I don't begrudge them at all, and I look back on them very fondly. But now, as someone who can do my own thing, I'd much rather not go to just a hotter version of where I'm already living, you know?
Yeah. Whereas for me, I don't live by a beach.
Yeah.
I
same
love
with me.
beaches.
See,
love
I
a
do
beach.
get the novelty, but in my mind, it's not on the same level as a city. In that, yeah, you can go to a beach every now and then, but every city is different, whereas every beach feels kind of similar. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's somewhere where you can sit, and there's some nice views, and there's water. Whereas every city has its own little niches, its own unique little places to visit and do, and people to see. And
Yeah.
Haven't you got to really find them? Because otherwise you're just going to go to all the touristy places that are all there for the tourists.
I don't think it's that,
And,
especially with the internet now, I don't think it's that hard to find those kinds of places. And with a road trip, you can visit multiple, and you can tailor your trip to go to all the places that you want to. And because you've got a car with you, you don't have to just spend the time in the centre. In fact, I'd say having a car with you kind of encourages you to spend time further away from the centre because it's easy
Yeah.
to get to. And so you get those kind of fringe experiences.
Yeah. You've definitely got a lot of freedom in a car. Like, no one wants to take a car on a city trip, so then you are kind of stuck to the busyness of the city. And if you want to go on a beach holiday, like you say, you don't really want a car because you go on a beach holiday to unwind. But then again, some people do find cars very stressful, or driving, not just cars.
I guess I hate this, but everyone has their individual benefits. But I think it's, especially with holidays, it's kind of horses for courses.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a very stressful day job, it might be nice just to kind of sit on a beach.
Like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you like to keep yourself busy,
Yeah.
go to a city. If you like driving, do a road trip.
Yeah.
Maybe have each in moderation.
Yeah. Do
But
a
I-
bit of all of them.
I think for me, like, it's hard to not think the road trip is the best just because you can use it to do all of them. You can do the road trip that incorporates cities and beaches.
But then I think for me, the road trip aspect would make each of those completely unbearable. I'd get off the road and I'd just think, I just want to get in my hotel bed, and whether it's by the beach or in a city, I'd just be like, I don't want to see another car. But I think that for me, the stress of
Yeah.
sort of knowing that you're constantly on the go. Where am I going to sleep next night? And that, so
Yeah.
just for me,
It
that
depends
is
how you time it. I mean, like, for instance, if I end up going to Ireland this summer, each drive is going to be between 45 minutes and an hour and a half. It's not a long drive, really,
No.
in the grand scheme of things. And so it probably isn't going to be that stressful driving on the left-hand side of the road, on the right side of the car. You're used to that. It's just having a bit of a drive, and so
Yeah.
actually, if you don't like driving long distances, you can, as I said, with the flexibility you've got, tailor it to your individual needs. I think that the flexibility really lends itself.
But I think you're right. You can't. I don't know. You cannot objectively say, I don't think, which is the best holiday.
Yeah, I think.
That's not what I said. I said road trips are the best. Did you listen to me?
You said for you, road trips were
Yes.
the best.
You said your horses for courses. And I think that is the
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
the ultimate, is that
Poll it again.
it'll have
I'm
to
sorry,
be a
we're
poll
going
to
to poll
see
it again.
what sort of people we
might
have
actually
listening.
just make this a regular thing now. We need people's opinions because we can't just keep saying they've
Because
all
we
got their
can't
own benefits.
decide.
But we've laid out the arguments for you. Now you make up your own minds.
Boom, boom, boom. Thank you very much for listening.
And if you want to get in contact, you can find us on Facebook. We're Mind the Flat Podcast.
On Twitter, we're at mindtheflat_pod.
And Instagram at mindtheflat_podcast.
And if you want to respond to anything we've said in this episode or suggest a topic for another week, you can head to our Reddit. That's r/mindtheflat.
Or alternatively, you can drop us an email at mindtheflatpodcast@gmail.com.